Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's going MF Michael Pledge alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the arrival of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, then great. If he doesn't, then we will catch him up, down the line. But, guys, tonight we have ourselves uh, a good show as we'll be talking about TNA wrestling. And, yes, when we talked about it on Tuesday, when we mentioned this about NXT that it was a newsworthy show, TNA had a very newsworthy show, and we'll get into that right now. So we started out the show. Okay. We started out the show with one of the world famous, legendary uh, concerts by Joe Henry. And so it was interrupted by, believe it or not, by Primo and Epico Cologne. Yeah, they're back. So the Colognes came out. It was also there was a little bit of a surprise because we had Elijah, aka Elias from WWE, formerly of WWE. Now Elijah showed up, and well, they basically booked a match that was going to go down later in the evening, and it was going to be Elijah and Joe Henry, and that they were going to go up against the Colognes in the main event for the evening. So Anthony Floyo, come on in. Wow. Well, that's
Wow.
a way to start TNA. Elijah, the Colognes, holy WWE in about 3 or 4 years ago, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. Um, I'll tell you what, the Colognes and Elijah, they may not be major stars, but bringing in that much fresh blood in a single segment is a good thing. And Elijah is now exclusively under TNA contract. It is official. He is now a TNA wrestler. I think that will do wonders for him. And who knows, maybe they'll and that it looks like they might have big plans for him already. You never know. I mean, putting him with Joe Henry, I mean, interesting pairing to say the very least. And when you hear that guitar string, when you hear that guitar riff, that's all you need to know, and that's how you knew it was him. The Cologne showing up in TNA, I did not have that on my bingo card whatsoever. I hadn't heard anything about these guys being around in a long time, and the Colognes, I mean, they're going to be known as Eddie and Orlando Cologne in TNA. So former WWE Tag Team Champions in their own right. Um, it's not exactly a major headliner of a main event, but like I said, like those guys may not be major stars, but whenever you bring in some fresh blood, that's always a great thing. So a very solid start to the show here. So with that being said, MF set me up for the first match. MF, are you there? All right. I guess I'm gonna have to say a few more things. Look, I mean, Elijah. Thing was, I mean, not too long ago, it was reported that he was going to sign with AEW and or Ring of Honor, and obviously nothing came of that. But I can confirm, according to some sheets out there and social media, that Elijah is now fully under TNA contract. So that's a big get for them. And based and a little later on when we talk about the main event, it looks to me like they might have some big things. They might have some big plans in store for Elijah here. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that, as the weeks progress. The Colognes, of course, as we all know, former WWE Tag Team Champions when they were known as Primo and Epico. And We haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything from these guys in how many years? It's been forever and a day since we've heard anything out of the Colognes, and it was a surprise to see them. I mean, I certainly did not have this on my bingo card whatsoever, but those are I mean, I think they could be a great fit in the tag team division, and they could definitely be in that tag team title picture. Like I said, they are former tag team champions, so they do have championship experience. So, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But the Joe Henry concerts are always, they're always a hoot, and so surreal to see TNA wrestling at a venue where NXT was born, and that venue being Full Sail University. And it was so surreal to see TNA in there after all those years WWE and NXT had in there. And that's the venue that gave birth to NXT. And of course, they now do it at the CWC. And, well, I mean, they made it look great to start it off. And another great Joe Henry concert here. And him and Elijah, I mean, that's a very interesting pairing, to say the very least. And, those two could end up making some great music together. So we'll have to wait and find out. But sets up a somewhat interesting main event. So I don't know what else there is to say on that. So, MF, the only thing I can tell you is that Elijah is now under TNA contract, which some time ago it was reported that he had initially signed with AEW/ROH, but obviously nothing came of that. So, and as far as the Colognes go, that really caught me off guard. I did not have that on my bingo card whatsoever. The Colognes back?
Yeah.
How many years has it been since we've heard from them?
Dude, it's been about 5 years, probably more. Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
Sounds right.
Sounds right to me.
So, yeah, definitely a big surprise. Definitely caught everybody by surprise with that big announcement. But we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, we had that big main event, and we'll get into that in a little while. So, starting off with the in-ring action, we had was Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz of the Rascals. Of course, match was over. The winners of the bout in 4 minutes and 5 seconds was Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz of the Rascals. But after the match was over, Wes Lee got on the mic and challenged, and we're getting it now. 6-man tag team fight. Wes Lee, Tyreek Igwe, and Tyson DuPont versus Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, 6-man tag team fight at Sacrifice. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Yeah, buddy. 2-star match for me. Power versus speed here. And as usual, it worked rather well. It's also nice to see an NXT team actually lose, as TNA does not have the best record. Igwe and DuPont could turn into something one day, but they have a lot of experience to gain on the way there. A nice, fast-paced way to start things off here, though, and that's a good choice. 6-man tag, I mean, it was inevitable, just as inevitable as Ace Austin, and I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a great match at the Sacrifice event, March 14th. So, yeah, very much looking forward to talking about that in a couple of weeks on the March 14th edition of this show. So we'll see how that all plays out. So like I said, this is a solid 2 to 2.25 star bout. Not really much to get into, but the big talking point was that 6-man tag team matchup, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be I cannot wait to see what Wes Lee and Ace Austin and them are going to do. Igwe and DuPont, they're bigger guys, but I still think we're going to get one hell of a spot fest in that 6-man in a couple weeks. So, or in 3 weeks, rather, I should say. So this was a solid 2 to 2.25 star bout for me. So, not much more to say. MF, let's get your thoughts on this. All right. Looks like MF had to step away once again. So, I'll dive a little bit more into this. Not a problem. So, you know, Sacrifice coming up March 14th in, I believe it's in El Paso, Texas. And we got a great 6-man matchup here. And, when you think about the bodies of work of Wes Lee and Ace Austin and the Rascals, I mean, Egwene DuPont, they're both a work in progress. Let's put it that way. They're both a work in progress. And I think they need a little bit more seasoning before they can develop into anything really good. But when you got 4 great workers like Wes Lee, the Rascals, and Ace Austin, I think they'll be just fine. And that 6-man match is going to be, I believe it's going to be a hell of a spot fest. So, looking forward to it. So 2 to 2.25 stars for the match. MF is back in. So let's get your thoughts, MF.
2.25, definitely. I think they did a really good job. I thought it was a solid fight. Really not much to talk about, so we're just gonna continue on as it was Lee Wing Lee, and she went up against Rosemary, and Lee Win Ying. Lee wins the match in 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Of course, this is the Xia Li for all you fans out there from WWE. It was a fine match. I don't think there was really much for us to say here. It could have been better in certain elements, but there was really nothing more here. It's Lee getting a big win. Rosemary does do a little bit of a spray attack. She sprayed the mist on Lee's face after the match was over. About another 1.5 to 2. And Anthony, it's yours.
2 to 2.25. Rosemary losing a lot is not the biggest surprise, but seeing her lose to Lee is quite the shocker. Lee hasn't felt like a big deal in her time around the company, and I'm not exactly seeing this change her status. What matters is that TNA is trying, though. I'm not sure how well it will go. They have to try, though, and this is certainly a way to do just that. And make no mistake about it, this is the biggest win for Lee Ying Lee since coming to TNA. When you defeat someone the caliber of a Rosemary, a former knockout champion and a former knockout tag team champion who's had a stellar career for herself in TNA, I mean, who knows? Maybe this could be the beginning of something for her. Who knows? And WWE, I thought WWE dropped the ball with her. I mean, but then again, look who was running things, of course. So it's a damn shame that she didn't work out in WWE. I thought she had the potential to one day be a future women's champion. I thought she had future women's champion written all over her, but it's a shame that her career didn't pan out that way. But who knows? Maybe this could be the start of something for Lee Ying Lee, and I'm hoping so. So maybe one day she'll be a knockouts champion. Maybe, but we'll see. Another 2 to 2.25. That's all we can go. So with that being said, MF, let's get into our next thing here.
All right, the next thing that we did have was JDC. This was Johnny Dango Curtis. He went up against Leon Slater in a no disqualification match. And when it was all said and done, the winner of the bout in 11 minutes and 25 seconds was JDC. Johnny Dango Curtis wins it, but it was because the system got involved. The system was all over the place in interference, but then some chaos breaks out. After the match was over, the system tries to take out Leon Slater. That prompted the Hardy Boys to come out. Matt and Jeff, the TNA World Tag Team Champions. The beatdown continued, and then the ruler, the reigning, defending NXT champion, Obafemi hits the ring. He crossed the line, and he was a one-man wrecking crew. He cleared the entire ring of the system. Moose hightailed it before he even got his before Obafemi even got his hands on Moose. Moose hightailed it when the music hit. What a moment for the fans in Full Sail. They absolutely were going bonkers. And when the music hit, all you heard was whoo, whoo the whole time. They know who shows up in that place. Oh my God, Anthony Florio, what in the world? 3.5 stars for the match. Yes, I get it. No DQ fight, so everything's legal there. But then the post fight, oh my lord, what a moment.
Oh, 3.25, 3.5 for me. Leon Slater continues to showcase himself rather well most of the time, and that was the case here. They certainly protected him in the end, with the interference leading to his loss, so a rematch is not out of the cards. That Swanton 450 is still great, as you almost forget that he's going to flip until the last possible second. Good brawl here as they kept something of a limit on the weapons use instead of just going nuts with them. And it led to a backstage segment in the back. The system were losing their were pissed off about what happened with Olba showing up, and then enter Santino Marella, and Santino Marella and next week on TNA Impact next week, it's gonna be Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers of the system squaring off against the TNA World Tag Team Champions, the Hardy Boys, or the Hardys, and NXT Champion Obafemi. We're going to see Obafemi in a TNA ring next week. Holy hell, is that going to be something else? So, I don't know what else there is to say. It's inevitable that we're going to get Oba and Moose. I think the perfect day to do that is I think they're either going to do it on that NXT roadblock at the theater in Madison Square Garden, March 11th, or possibly March 14th at Sacrifice. You never know. So I suspect one of those two will be when they pull the trigger on Oba and Moose. So and when they get together, there will be some shaking. That's all I'm gonna say there. So 3.25, 3.5 stars for this. And I continue to love Leon Slater. You guys, you know the how high I am on this young man, and I believe somewhere down the road he is going to be a future X Division champion. There's no doubt about it. So, like I said, 3.25, 3.5. MF, how about it? Next week on Impact, Obafemi and the Hardys against Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers in a 6-man. Wow.
Man, that's gonna be nuts. That's gonna be insane. I can't wait to see how that plays out. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to watch, no doubt about it. Next up, we had was Masha Slamovich in a non-title match. She squashed her opponent in 30 seconds. However, Cora Jade showed up and jumped Masha Slamovich and beat her down, left her in a heap. Santina Marella and Ariana Grace did make the announcement backstage. Anthony, it is official at Sacrifice. TNA versus NXT. Masha Slamovich puts the TNA Knockouts title on the line against NXT's own Cora Jade.
What a match that's going to be. And this is a match that has been on the works. It's been in the works for some time now. But let's not forget what happened beforehand. Tessa Blanchard coming out.
Yes.
Tessa Blanchard cutting a promo. And boy, did the fans at Full Sail, they showed no mercy on her, man. Oh, my goodness. They ripped her to shreds. I mean, chance of We coming for you. Oh my goodness. Woo. Damn. Okay.
Well,
But
you know where
I
that,
know
you know
why.
where that, you know where that started from.
I know where it started from, and
Okay.
I know the reasoning for it. But
Yep.
but let's not forget, she was originally scheduled to be in a match, and she was not dressed to compete. She did not compete. Santino Marella, he laid down the law, and he basically said it like this: next week you will wrestle, and if you don't, you're fired. So so we shall wait and see what happens with that. But I believe I got this feeling Masha Slamovich is going to get by Cora Jade at Sacrifice, and Cora will get some spots though. But I think Masha ultimately retains, and because I believe the end game is Masha Slamovich versus Tessa Blanchard. I believe that's the real end game, and that could be at the Rebellion pay per view at the end of April, or maybe a future Impact. I don't know, but that's the ultimate end game. But the thing is, Masha Slamovich versus Cora Jade, it's been in the works for several weeks now, and they made it official for the Sacrifice special that you can see exclusively on TNA Plus in 3 weeks on Friday night, March the 14th. And when we do Ridiculously Raw that week, MF and I will have an exclusive preview of that pay per view. So, well, not really a pay per view, but TNA special. We'll call it that.
Special event. Yeah.
Yes. When we do, that'll be on March 11th. March 11th. That's when we have the big Ridiculously Raw, and that's going to be a big show in and of itself. And it never hurts to advertise ahead of time. It never hurts to do that. So Tuesday night, March 11th, Ridiculously Raw, and it's a big show. Why? Because we're going to be reviewing Monday Night Raw from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden.
Oh, oof.
March 10th. Monday night, March 10th. Monday Night Raw. From when it comes to arenas, for me and MF, this is that arena. We consider that the mothership. That's the mothership.
Yeah.
Right
This
there.
is the home. This is the home away from home.
Holy Grail.
Like, that of all the arenas in the world, you can call it the Cathedral of Soccer. That's Wembley Stadium. Tokyo Dome is the home of strong style. If you want to talk about the birthplace of WWF, World Wrestling Federation, Madison Square Garden, New York City. On that, on 5th and 33rd Street in Manhattan. That's where the Garden is originated. Yes, there's 4 Madison Square Gardens in its illustrious history, but this garden is the one that holds the most near and dear to my heart and to Anthony Florio's heart.
Not just because of the history of professional wrestling. Of course, it's also because our favorite hockey team plays their home games there.
Yep.
The New York Rangers. And but it's sacred ground. And that's all there is to it. It's that is sacred ground. And whenever there's a show at Madison Square Garden, regardless of whether it's a pay-per-view, a Raw, or a SmackDown, MF and I make it a point to go as old school on commentary as possible. He does the gorilla. I do my combo of Jesse and Bobby. And I don't know what else there is to say.
That's
but
right.
The point I'm trying to make here.
That's the night where, for one night and one night only, I'll be the lead commentator for Monday Night Raw that night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because normally I don't do lead commentary for Raws anymore. Normally I'm SmackDown now.
That's right. And for that one night you will be, and you get to do your Gorilla JR thing, and I'll get to do my Jesse Bobby King thing. So So yeah, and we're gonna have hella fun that night. I'll tell you that. But the point I'm trying to make is Tuesday night, March 11th, right on the Tone 25, Ridiculously Raw. We're gonna review Monday Night Raw from Madison Square Garden, and then we're gonna review NXT Roadblock from the theater in Madison Square Garden, formerly the Paramount Theater. So, and then on top of that, MF and I, we're going to have an exclusive preview of the TNA Sacrifice special on that very night. So you do not want to miss that. So mark it down on your calendars, friends. Tuesday night, March 11th. This could be the biggest Ridiculously Raw probably since the Netflix show. So can't wait to get into that. But Cora Jade, Masha Slamovich will elaborate a great deal more on that very night when it comes to it. But looking forward to the match. And the Tessa thing, I mean, I'll tell you what, she's doing her job. She's doing her job damn well because, well, a certain panelist here on this program, who's not with us tonight, let's just say he is not a big fan of hers. Let me just tell you that right now. So, and I know if he was on, he would definitely be bringing the tiki torches and the pitchforks like everybody else did at Full Sail. So that's how much he cannot stand her. So, but anywho, that's pretty much all I can say there. I'm looking forward to the matchup, and we'll see next week if Tessa, does what she's supposed to do. Because remember, if she doesn't, she gone. So we'll have to wait and find out. So I don't know what else there is to say except MF, can this show get any more newsworthy?
All right, I think we should be.
And there's another thing that came out of
All right, here we go.
That came out of it as well. There was a backstage segment. Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you were going to talk about it, I was about to get into it. Ash, the concierge.
Yes.
Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance, they showed up and they laid a challenge of Jody Threat and Danny Luna, and that they said that if the winners, so basically, if Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance wins, then Spitfire needs to become their personal concierge. However, if Spitfire wins, then Ash and Heather needs to be personal concierge of Spitfire. That match will go down next week on TNA Impact.
Yes, it will. Yep, that's exactly right.
So, main event of the evening.
Yep, you pretty much set the groundwork there. Gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. So, oh boy, if Ash and Heather lose this match, oh my goodness, that's gonna be a sight to see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, guys. So let's get into the main event of the evening. It was this was the long-awaited tag team fight: Joe Henry and Elijah versus the Clones, and it was Joe Henry and Elijah winning the match in 13 minutes and 10 seconds. Solid main event, good matchup to say the very least. I would give this easily 3.5 stars. I thought they did a really good job with it. I know a lot of people's like, well, was Elijah going to be true? And he was true for the most part. If anyone was looking for a heel turn or something like that, you weren't going to get it tonight. I think you're going to get it eventually. I got a funny feeling Elijah's going to turn on Joe Henry, but not now. Not yet. He just started too soon. So nothing more to say. Anthony, 3.5 stars as they win it in 13-10.
Yeah, that's about right. 3.5. This was a way to bring in the new stars in the span of one match, and that's a nice way to go. I'm not sure I can imagine Joe Hendry versus Elijah going forward in a title program, but it could work as a one-off match at a show on Sacrifices level. Other than that, the Cologne showing up and losing in their first match is a bit of a stretch, but maybe they're not going to be the biggest deal around there, and I don't think they will be. But then again, they were not in WWE either, so they were pretty much lost in the shuffle. So, but I will give it a chance and see where it goes. But 3.5 stars for the match as well. So overall thoughts, I'll take it for a spin here. 7.5 out of 10. The best thing I can say about this was it was not dull. TNA has a history of not exactly delivering on its bigger shows, but they have made back-to-back live impacts work very good and pretty well. There may not have been some blowaway matches, but 3 no-names debuted, and there was enough setup for the future. It was a good enough show as TNA continues to be the best thing they can be at the moment, and that is steady. So yeah, I mean, a newsworthy show with Elijah announcing he's with them now. The Colognes look like they're going to be a part of it as well. I think they'd be a good fit for the tag division. And Cora showing up, no surprise. Oba showing up, that was expected, especially after the interaction he had with Moose on NXT Tuesday night. And yeah, so solid 7.5 out of 10 for me. And, you know, I'm intrigued to see where things go in the future. So 7.5 out of 10, and we'll toss it over to MF and get his overall thoughts, and then we'll get into tonight's Smackdown from an arena that he likes the name of.
Yeah, it was a solid show, no doubt about it. I think they did a really good job, and well, they did it. So nothing more to say. And yeah, I thought they did a really good job with that. So definitely a good outcome. And 7 out of 10, no doubt about that. And now we go right into the big one. So from the Smoothie King Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana, it was SmackDown Live. And here we go. We started off with Drew McIntyre cutting a promo. Oh, well, not really cutting a promo, but his first match of the evening with Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso winning the match in 11-10. Got a roll up and a 1-2-3. Anthony Florio would have probably started yelling, he probably pulled the tithe, he probably cheated. There's no way you could hold him down for 3. And sure enough, he did. But the next thing you know, here comes McIntyre, and he lays out Jimmy Uso with that Claymore. I basically would have gone absolutely ballistic about everything that went down, but it was a solid match to say the very least. 3 to 3.5 stars as Jimmy Uso beats Drew McIntyre in 11-10. Anthony, it is yours.
3 to 3.25. This match had a couple of fun moments, but as a whole, it is not going to be remembered by the time the show is over. The post-match attack was far more memorable than anything that happened between the bells here. Drew has a great belly-to-belly suplex because he actually throws people instead of relying on them to do a lot of the work jumping. And I think Jimmy Uso's spear needs a little work. He hits people with the wrong shoulder for how he is aligned with them. So nothing really more to get into there. So I'll give this about a solid 3 to 3.25 stars. So with that being said, let's move on to our next match.
Next match, it was a tag team fight as it was Carmelo Hayes and the Miz going up against LA Knight and R-Truth. Carmelo Hayes and the Miz wins the match in 10 minutes and 5 seconds, but it wasn't really a fair fight, Anthony, because Shinsuke Nakamura came out and and made just enough of an interruption to take out LA Knight, and then unfortunately for R-Truth, he basically was a sitting duck because then he got basically skull crushing finale, and then Carmelo Hayes hit nothing but net, and that was it. It was game over for R-Truth. as The Miz and Carmelo wins.
Yeah, what happened was Carmelo Hayes and The Miz had a funny segment with R-Truth backstage before they came out for this tag team match. It was earlier in the day. Truth's surprise partner was LA Knight. Truth thought the LA was short for Louisiana. But much of what we saw here was designed for comedy, but they had a couple of good spots sprinkled in throughout the match. This may be the beginning of a new tag team for Melo and Miz, or it could just be filler before one turns on the other. And what happened here was Shinsuke Nakamura interfered and helped Melo and The Miz score the win with a combined version of their finishers. So this was a solid 3-star match. And that's really all I can say on that. I hate to say it, but I could have done without this match. I mean, I think this was a bit on the pointless and unnecessary side because I don't think anybody asked for this. I know I certainly didn't ask for this, but you know, it is
in a way. I get it. I understand. Yeah,
got to be the man who tells it like it is here. And but at least the right team won. I'll give them that. The only thing is I kind of wanted to see Melo score the fall. That's kind of what I wanted to see. Miz didn't really need the fall. I wish they could have had Melo get the fall here, but because Melo definitely we got to start building him up because he was great in NXT, but he's been a little so-so lately. So I kind of want to see a little more out of him, but at least he got a win here. That's all I can ask for. So even though I thought the match was under the unnecessary filler category, it was still a solid, okay match. I'll give this I'll give it a solid 3 stars for the effort. So all I can say is, well, actually, nothing much more to say. So MF, unnecessary filler, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I thought it was a little unnecessary, but it was fun for what it was worth. The outcome was never in doubt, I guess you can say, because especially with the interference by Nakamura, that kind of cost the fight. So I mean, three to 3.25. I'll give it that, and then we'll just move on. Next up, we had was a promo segment uh, by Tiffany Stratton, and then it was interrupted by Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. That led to the match, Tiffany Stratton versus Candice LeRae, and Tiffany winning the match, 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Obviously, Stratton, Nia Jax attacked Tiffany Stratton. That brought Trish Stratus out, and basically that was that. So it was definitely a nice segment, to say the very least. And, it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, because then on top of that, I hate to say this, but then Charlotte Flair came out and didn't really do much, just kind of, admiring that Tiffany got destroyed, because remember, Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. So, I mean, there's a lot to uncover here, Anthony Florio. Tiffany wins the match over Candice at 9:45, but then after the post fight, Nia and Candice got the last laugh on not only Tiffany Stratton, but also Trish Stratus got hurt in the process too. And you want to talk about momentum going into Elimination Chamber and the Skydome in Toronto, those two ladies definitely got some.
They did, and they needed it. This match lasted through a second break into the next segment, so they had a long time to make this fight feel competitive. It was not as fast-paced as it could have been in places, and there were a couple of sloppy moments, but there was more good than bad. And as the match was over, it looked like Nia was about to hit her finisher, and then Trish came down to make the save, but then Trish ended up getting taken out, so Nia could nail both Tiffany and Trish with the Annihilator at the same time. I got to point out something here. There was a bit of a botch in this match. Tiffany slipped trying to run up the ropes for an arm drag. She was fine, but the move looked awkward. And the way Tiffy sells can be very convincing sometimes. The way she screams make it look like she is in legitimate pain. And Tiffany's Alabama slam into the barricade did not go as planned. So there were a few botches here, but best I can go is 3 stars. And the right woman won. Tiffany Stratton did. And yes, I am very much looking forward to this tag team match next Saturday night at Elimination Chamber. I mean, anytime I get to see my all-time favorite Trish Stratus, yes, that's gonna make me very happy, and I can't wait to see her in action and to see her and Tiffy together. I mean, old school, new school, right there, and I'm hopeful that this will put the Nia thing to bed because it's starting to run its course now. I think so, and then we can, once we get by this match, then I'm hopeful that every show going forward it'll be all about Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton leading into their bout at WrestleMania. So solid 3 for this. That's the best I can go. So not much more to say. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah. I thought they did fine. So I thought it was a 3-star bout as well, and really nothing more to add. So next up after that, we had a lot of stuff that went down after that. A lot of promo stuff behind the scenes. We had let's see. Next up we had was the promo by The Rock. It started out with obviously the big announcement that was made next year, WrestleMania. This will be the 42nd WrestleMania, going back to New Orleans. Yes, WrestleMania 42 has been confirmed to be at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. We just had the Super Bowl just recently. Now we get the granddaddy of them all for the 3rd time in recent memory. WrestleMania 30, 34, now 42, gonna be at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. But that was not the reason why The Rock wanted to come out just for the announcement of WrestleMania. He also brought out the WWE champion Cody Rhodes. They had a little bit of a back and forth, but there was something that was very interesting that The Rock said that made this very interesting. And that was that he wanted him to be his champion. What? Wait a minute. The Rock wants Cody to be his champion? I don't get it. I know Ari Emanuel and TKO owns WWE. I get that. And I know Rock is a member of the board of directors for TKO. So technically he is the bigger boss than Triple H. He actually is higher ranked than Triple H. But he wants him to be his champion? Are we about to get a McMahon Austin thing from 17? Are we about to see Cody Rhodes selling his soul to The Rock at WrestleMania? Oh, I know 2 people that would not want to see that happen, and that's Anthony Floyd and Michael Bullock. They've been on the Cody hype train. They've been on the Cody train, finishing the story in the whole 9 yards for the last 2 years. Is it possible that Cody Rhodes turns his back on his own fans, stabbing the back on Anthony Floyd and Michael Bullock at WrestleMania to sell his soul to the final boss? Anthony Florio, when I heard that, my ears perked. And I was like, wait just a minute. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? No way. You don't think.
Oh, no. There's more than this. There's more than this than meets the eye here. There's no question about this. Well, beforehand, a scheduled match between Naomi and Liv Morgan never happened because Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez took out Naomi and Bianca before it could even get started. And then the Rock's promo here, he came out with a New Orleans themed entrance, WrestleMania 42 at the Superdome next year. It'll be on Saturday night, April 11th, and Sunday, April 12th for next year. He invited Cody Rhodes to the ring, and they spoke for a very long time about Rocky wanting Rhodes to be, quote-unquote, his champion. Or rather, he wanted him to be a corporate champion by selling his soul. This segment was so weird because Rock kept wavering from heel to babyface. The crowd didn't know whether to boo or cheer for him by the time it was over. This was a confusing segment, but not because of what anyone said. It was confusing because it didn't really accomplish anything and left us with way more questions than answers. Sometimes that is good, but this felt less like a cliffhanger and more like WWE not knowing what they want to do yet. But MF, there is a small caveat you forgot to mention, and that is we're going to pick this back up at Elimination Chamber at the Sky Dome in Toronto. Rock and Cody will have his decision. Now, I say there's more than this than meets the eye here. Because let's not forget, whoever wins the men's Elimination Chamber match, that man will earn the right to challenge Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania 41.
Yes, he does.
Whoever that is, right now, the betting line favorite is John Cena.
Cena is the top pick.
There could also be CM Punk as well. I think CM Punk is right behind him. But an interesting scenario I came across. What if Cody says no? What if Cody tells Rock at the Chamber? Cody tells Rock no. I could see a scenario where Rock tells Cody, "You're going to regret that. You're going to regret this." So who knows? Could it set up a scenario where whoever wins the Chamber, whether it be a John Cena or a CM Punk, could that man sell his soul to the final boss and become Rock's corporate champion?
You know who probably, if it was a full circle moment, I don't think it would be Punk. Because I don't think Punk would sell. What if it's Cena?
Very, very awesome.
Because think about that.
Yes.
Cena gets the 17. Mm-hmm. He breaks the record.
Yup.
And he sells out to The Rock.
Come on.
You know the rivalry. You know what these two men have gone through. They fought in 2 WrestleManias back to back. What if that's the moment? What if John Cena pulls the ultimate heel move at WrestleMania? What if he's the one to sell his soul to winning and sacrificing his own legacy to break Ric Flair's record at WrestleMania by stabbing his own fan base in the... It would be like Hogan in 96. It would literally be that type of a moment. It would be Hogan turning his back on the Hulkamaniacs, on WCW, and forming the NWO in 1996 at Bash at the Beach. But this would be even bigger than that, because it would be John Cena selling out to The Rock to break the record, turn his back on his entire legacy of the hustle, loyalty, respect. Oh my Lord, if it's Cena. If it's John Cena, do you know what would happen to wrestling as a whole if Cena pulls this?
Do you know what would happen to the internet?
Oh my God.
Can you say internet would break?
Oh yeah.
This would literally and figuratively and literally.
This would be like Austin and McMahon from 17.
Yup.
Like, think about that.
Yup.
You remember that last image of WrestleMania 17.
I do.
Austin winning the WWF Championship with the help of Vince McMahon. And the shaking of the hands in the center of the ring at the Houston Astrodome with the lights going all over the dome. And you see McMahon and Austin shaking each other's hands.
Oh.
What if that's the last image we see at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas? What if that's the lasting image of Rock shaking the hands of John Cena as Cena sells his soul to winning and becoming the undisputed WWE champion and breaking the record, getting the 17th? Oh my Lord.
I told you there was more than this that meets the eye.
Yeah, there is.
But then again, CM Punk kind of has the same CM Punk kind of has the same little thing too. I mean, it may not be 17, but what is the one thing CM Punk has always wanted to do in his career? Main event WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Punk's got a case too.
But the thing is, how would that work in the favor? Because he already has the favor from Paul Heyman. How would that, like, I don't think Punk selling out to Rock, it doesn't make any sense. I don't think it would make sense. So that's why I don't think that would work. It has to make sense for somebody to sell out. I don't think you can do Seth because no.
Him and Roman are on a collision course.
Yeah, him and Roman are a collision course. So that's out of the game.
And I think they're going to have a match at Mania.
McIntyre, I don't see that because I think it's going to be him and Damian Priest. The only other guy, legitimately, would be Logan Paul. But I don't think that would make any sense.
No.
Why would Logan sell out to The Rock?
He's already a heel.
Yeah, he's already a heel. So that would not, it wouldn't make any sense for him to do it. The only one would be Cena. Cena right now would be the most logical choice to sell out.
Absolutely.
His story would be so crazy. Because how many times have people been begging for John Cena to be a heel? How many years did everybody say, "Oh, I would love to see a heel John Cena. I would love to see a heel John Cena."
He almost did. He almost did. He did an interview. I remember he did an interview with somebody. It might have been Van Vliet. I don't know. Or it was someone else. I don't know. But he did an interview with somebody, and he said that he was on the verge of turning heel, going back to the once in a lifetime with The Rock at 28. Something was in the works, but then I don't know what in the world happened at the 11th hour. Something must have happened at the 11th hour, and they didn't go through with it. Boy, howdy, that would have been something if they had gone through with it. That would have been freaking awesome if it had gone through with it. But
What about now? I
this
mean,
oh oh god,
farewell tour, Cena leaving. Like, what if he does?
suckering all of us in, and
Oh,
it would
oh man,
it would be even bigger than Hogan.
yeah,
I mean, you said it. I mean, that was in a 10 to 15,000 seat arena in
yeah,
Daytona Beach, Florida,
yes,
in 1996, the Bash at the
yes.
Beach.
When Austin turned, there was over 68,000.
67,925.
Yeah, there was almost 68,000 when Austin turned and joined McMahon. This one would be, I mean,
Around the same.
yeah, about the same, maybe a little
About
more,
60.
maybe like close to 70,000.
Yeah, it depends on what the seating capacity is for Allegiant.
Yeah.
But a lot of people very confused by this segment. You know, a lot of people on social media are up in arms and not in a good way. And but the thing is, I mean, yes, it was confusing. I'll even go as far as to call it awkward. I'll call it awkward. It kind of had an awkward feel to it. I mean, I was confused. It left me asking way more questions than answers. I'm sure it did to you, MF, and I'm sure if Bullock was here, I'm sure Bullock would say the same thing. And but a lot of people on social media, a lot of our fellow content creators here on YouTube. I mean, I know they don't know what to make of it, but at least this story continues on, and it sucks that we have to wait a week and change for it. But trust me, I got a feeling it's going to be well worth the wait. And next Saturday night at Elimination Chamber, we pick this thing back up. So I can't wait to see how it all plays out. My prediction is Cody's going to say no because he's going to stay true to his values. And now I got my train of thought back. I had a train of thought. I lost it for a moment. Now I got it back. If this Cena scenario plays out, MF, if this plays out to perfection, like you just said, with that insane scenario you just dropped there, even though I agree with you 100% on it, you thought Cody was sympathetic after he lost to Roman at 39. Can you imagine how sympathetic this is going to? Do you understand how much of a mega uber over babyface this is going to make Cody in the long run?
Oh yeah.
He's going to be even more. There's going to be even more sympathy for the guy after 39. You remember 39? He lost to Roman. We were all thinking, "Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to beat Roman. He's going to beat Roman." Oh no, they got us. They threw a major curveball at us that night. A year ago, he finished the story in the greatest Mania main event we've ever seen. That could change this year if it does end up being if it ends up being Cody and Cena. And if this Cena thing plays out like you say it will, MF, you thought the sympathy for Cody was off the charts going into 40. Think about how mega uber over Cody's going to get out of this. Can you imagine the money in that chase? Just like it was with Roman? Oh, sign me up. Sign me up. So, even though the segment was confusing and awkward at times, it's still the segment of the night, though. This segment came out really, really well done. And I can't wait to see how it plays out at the Chamber next week. So, if that scenario plays out like you say it will, MF, oh my goodness. It's going to put Hogan and Austin both to shame. And we're all here for it. So, oh my God, how do we move on from this? How? I don't know how to move on from this. I don't know. Well, we got to move on from here. So, I
Yeah, I got it. So
okay.
right now, the next thing that we did have is I think we only had one match left. Let me see. Actually,
Two.
no, we had two. DIY going up against Pretty Deadly, and actually this was for the tag team titles, but the fight got thrown out because well, we had some chaos. Everybody in the tag team division decided to show up, and that basically threw the match out in 6 minutes and 15 seconds. So Anthony Florio, as we expected, tag team titles were on the line, and basically a whole bunch of tag teams decided, no, we're not gonna let this go down. So fight got thrown out in 6:15.
Uh Two. I guess 2.5. Even though we could we could pull a Michael Bullock here, invoke the Bullock rule, and call it an NA.
Yup.
And it's because the match didn't have enough TV time due to the break, and the DQ ending was the least ideal way to do it. The action looked good, but everything else made it feel pointless. Motor City Machine Guns tried to come out and help, but the Street Profits dispatched them with ease. DIY's promo was so unnecessary. The match ended up going to commercial so fast because of it. Even with the DQ ending, this was a good segment to make the Street Profits look dangerous. There's definitely something that's going to come out of this, no doubt about it. I suspect we're going to get another multi-man style match at WrestleMania, maybe. Who knows? Maybe what we had last year. Maybe a multi-team ladder match for the tag team titles. I think that's the best. I think that might be the best case scenario when it comes to this, because we got all these teams. DIY the champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, the former champions. You got the Street Profits, who I believe are going to be the next tag team champions. Mark my words. I think they're setting them up for a title run here as a heel unit, which I can get behind. I really can. And of course, we can't forget about Pretty Deadly. We also can't forget about Los Garza. Can't forget about them as well. So I'm thinking this is probably gonna lead to a multi-team ladder match or some sort of multi-team match at WrestleMania for the titles. Unless they have something to plan sooner, I don't know. But so I'm gonna give it an NA. But if I were to put a rating on it, it would have been 2.5. So not much more to say. MF. I'm looking at a multi-team ladder match or some sort of multi-team match at Mania for the titles.
Yeah, about 2.5 is my rating as well. Yeah, multi-man match. Really nothing more to add. That leads us to the main event: Braun Strowman and Damian Priest versus Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. And it was Priest and Strowman winning the match in 11 minutes and 35 seconds. Solid main event, really good match. I say about another 3.5 stars, and it was really more because of Solo Sikoa and his just mistakes that he's making. Him and Jacob Fatu are not on the same page, and it's starting to cause a little bit of some problems. We're starting to see a little bit of some infighting here, so really nothing more to add. And Anthony, it's yours.
What was the time again?
11:35.
That's about 3.25 or so. 3.25, teetering on 3.5. Hard-hitting match with some of the best action of the night. Braun Strowman and Damian Priest made a good team, but the real intrigue is going to come from Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa no longer being on the same page. Jacob Fatu's backstage segment with Solo earlier in the show was good. The rift continues to grow. Solo looked mad when Jacob interrupted his quick promo before their entrance. The feud between Fatu and Strowman is one of the best non-title feuds going in WWE today. The crowd always goes nuts when they are in the ring together. I think we're looking at MF. I think we're in agreement here when I say, can you say Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania?
Very possible, yeah. I agree. No doubt.
I think that's what this is leading to. I mean, I smell a rat here. I smell a
Yeah.
rat here, and I'm not so sure um, that this is going to hold up any longer. And I could definitely see Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu in a match at WrestleMania, and we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But I think Solo and Jacob is the direction. So 3.25, teetering on 3.5. As far as overall goes, all right, I'll say it like this. Tonight's SmackDown was a perfect example of why some fans love WWE and some fans are tired of the exact same thing. The show is hyper polished and runs like a Swiss watch, but all of the production value in the world is not a substitute for good professional wrestling. The way a couple of the matches ended felt like lazy booking, and the Rock segment was not nearly as intriguing as WWE probably expected it to be. The main event tag match was the most exciting thing on the show by a wide margin, but if you like WWE's brand of sports entertainment, then you may enjoy the whole show. A few storylines were progressed, but just as many stayed in a holding pattern. As the road to WrestleMania heats up, WWE really needs to put its foot on the gas to make the product as interesting as possible. So, not one of the better SmackDowns. I could go as far as to call this the worst SmackDown of 25 so far. Although it wasn't all that bad, but I'm going to give this an excess of, and I might be generous on this, 6 to 6.5. That's the best I can go for this show here tonight. So, not much more to say. 6.5 for me. So take us home, MF.
Yeah, I'll probably say the same thing. I would probably say about 6.5 to close to 7. But it's like you said. I wish it could have been better, but they did a pretty good job with it. So I got nothing more to say. I think they did a really good job. So we're done for the night. Thank you so much, guys. On coming up on Tuesday, we do it all over again. Starting off with Ridiculously Raw. Anthony Floyer will host it. Monday Night Raw, NXT, and then I believe we don't have anything for Thursday right now, so we just might take a week off here. And then what we'll do is we'll come back on Friday and we'll do Cerebral Smack Talk. So yeah, so it looks
Which
like
will
we might have
include
nothing after.
which will include, of course, the Elimination Chamber.
Yes, indeed. So with that said, we are out of here, guys. So for Anthony Floyo, I am Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you all on Tuesday.
Goodbye.